Hello guys, in this video I will show you all the cubes from level 1 to 25. So this is level 1, pretty simple, the 1x1 cube. I mean, this video is about a little bit more easier puzzles because level 1 to 25 is nothing compared to like level 70 or 80, something like that. So if you want to see the next parts, you can just comment on it as I told. And also, as I haven't mentioned, this video is like level 1 is pretty easy, and the next levels will be harder cubes like to solve or stuff like that. And as you can see, this is a pretty simple cube. Everybody can solve it. Level 2 is actually a little bit harder. So it's not actually solved, but it's more like you have to solve it, but it's nothing much. You can only rotate it like this. You know, it's nothing crazy. It's called the O2 cube, I think. And yeah, that's still a pretty easy puzzle. You can turn it like this. Bam. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. The next cube is the 2x1x3. It's still pretty simple. I mean, you have to do some rotations. Like, there are some scrambles. But still, nothing too hard. So, it's basically just a few turns, nothing crazy. It's just one layer, you know? So it's pretty simple. Level 4 is the 3x3x1. So it's a little bit more pieces on it, but still nothing crazy, except for you can turn these middle parts. So this could be a little bit tricky, but that's actually about it too. You can also turn like this. Pretty satisfying. Next we have this little pyramid. I don't know how it's called because like I don't know every name, but still this is pretty simple. It's just if you turn this corner, the middle part turns with it, and it's the same color if you haven't scrambled it. If you scramble it, it's a little bit more like harder, but still nothing crazy. It's just like the corners with the middle part, nothing more. It could be a little bit tricky, but still pretty easy. So level 5 is actually not a pyramix. It's actually the pyramix in easier version. So the thing is, this pyramix has this mountain top on it, and it's on every side the same. So that means if you solve the green side, it's basically almost done. Only if these two are switched. But still, like, it's not hard. You can already have it just by doing the green side. Then we have this. So this is actually not a cube, but it is a puzzle that many people can do. I mean, like, I know people that can do this puzzle even though they can't even do a cube. So it's a pretty easy puzzle. Many people know it. Yeah, it's just basically to put the balls in the right spot. Like, the color is blue, so it has to be the blue ball which you have to put in there. Bam. So this one is actually called the Ivy Cube, and it's one of the easiest puzzles too, because it's basically just turning these middle parts away. Nothing crazy, like, you don't have to know much to do it. I haven't watched a tutorial, so, but still I can solve it because it's pretty simple. So now we have this cube. It looks pretty scary at first, but I have watched a video like 5 minutes and I already knew how to solve it, because it's the same trick all over again. Like, for each part it's the same trick, so it's a pretty easy puzzle. One trick, down, down, up, up, I think it was, and that's basically it. So you just have to know how to solve the white side, and the rest is the same. Now we actually have the 2x2 cube, because this cube is also pretty easy. It's way easier than the 3x3 cube, because the 3x3 cube has actually way more pieces, and also these middle parts which the 2x2 cube doesn't have. So it's still not the easiest puzzle, but I think if you want to learn how to solve it, it's pretty simple too. This one is actually called the Kilomings. And the thing with the Kilomings is it's like the 2x2 cube, like almost. It has one more piece, but nothing more, so it's basically pretty easy too. You have to know like one or two things more, but it's basically the same thing all over. Now we have the 3x3 cube. It's one of the most popular puzzles in the world, so many people can actually solve it. Not like the Ivy cube, but the Ivy cube is way easier, so yeah. But the 3x3 cube is pretty easy, many people can solve it, there are many tricks you can learn, and if you want to just do the tricks that beginners do, the beginner tricks are not actually that hard, so that's still quite easy. Level 13 is actually Tom from Tom and Jerry, you know him. But it's actually a 2x2 cube, and it has some different shapes, not like the normal cube, you know. It's not a cube anymore, it's basically just some other things, you know, other forms. So you have to know how to solve it without any color, so it's a little bit harder. Next we have the Dino. So it's actually a 2x3 cube, and I don't know how to solve it. Like, I can solve it sometimes, but it's basically just, I don't know, it's luck or something like that. So if you want to learn it, it's still not hard, I think. It's just like 5 minutes videos or something like that, not very long. But I haven't watched them, and I think it's not too hard, but yeah, I think it sits well in this spot. I mean, if it's easier than the 3x3 cube, I'm sorry, I don't know it. Yeah, now we have the mirror cube. So the mirror cube is actually a harder 3x3 cube because it has shapes and not colors. So this makes it a lot more difficult, because you have to know which shape belongs where. Each shape is different, so this is pretty hard to solve. It takes a little bit longer to solve if you don't know how to do it, but a little bit practice will make you faster in this. Level 16 is actually the 4x4 cube. So I know it might be hard. Like, there are two things that make it pretty hard. At the end, there are some different things that could happen, like this. Like, these two pieces are swapped with these. You know, the 3x3 cube doesn't have this, so this is pretty ugly. And yeah, there's one other trick. Like this. So this one's actually, like, these have to rotate, and the 3x3 cube can't have it because it can only have like two that didn't rotate, or all are finished. So it can't just have one that's wrong. So yeah, but it's basically just putting the middle parts there on the spot where they belong, then these two parts, these two pieces, and then solve it like a 3x3 cube, except for these two cases I just showed. On level 17 is actually the square 0, I think it's called. Because there's actually square 1, many people know it, you can actually solve it in competitions, so this is pretty popular. This one is the easier version. There's actually a harder version too, square 2, but this one is just square 0, so it's not easy, but still not too hard. I mean, like, basically square 1 has these middle parts, which this doesn't have, so it's easier. And the next one is actually like this cube, but the thing is, if you turn just half, not the full rotation, but just half of it, you can twist it like this. So these pieces can be like put in there, and then you can scramble it more around, like on each side. So it is harder than this cube, but still it's pretty easy. It's just one piece, so you know, you see this red piece, you know it belongs there, so there's nothing to worry about. On level 19 we have the Mega Minx. So it's basically almost like the Kill Minx we had before. It's still not as easy it is as the Kill Minx, but still pretty easy. So it's just these middle parts and that's pretty much it. So it's a little bit more tricks, but not too much. So it's pretty simple too. So next we have the Gear Cube. The Gear Cube, I never knew how to solve this cube, but I can solve it. So it's not always, but a little bit time. I need a little bit of time and then I can solve it. I don't know why. So it's basically just, if you turn the side, these pieces rotate with it. But it's not actually that hard. Now we have the final 5 cubes. So level 21 is the 5x5 cube. It's basically just the 4x4 cube. I don't know, actually I think it's easier than the 4x4 cube because it doesn't have these cases. Only this one case where this is rotated. But that's actually it. So it's easier actually. But I put it right there. It takes longer and these middle parts are a little bit more difficult to do. Before we say anything, it's not like the thing before with this cube. This one has only one piece. Like one. This one has 2. So it's harder because you can swap them and they stay like this. So you have to put them in the right spot. It's not too easy, I think. So it's way more difficult than this before. So this is actually the biggest cube in this video. It's the double Mega Minx, but it's actually not that hard. So if you know how to solve a Mega Minx, this cube is actually pretty easy. Because you just have to know, like you can turn some ways because the other one is blocking it. And that's actually it. So the trick is basically just to start with the blue side, so everything else here is open to turn and not like this. That's not good. So I solve it like this cube at first. So it's not like, I don't solve it like this, that the white is on the top, but actually like the other color next to it. And then we do the next one the same. Next we have, yes, it's almost the same thing again, but it's actually 3 pieces, so it's even harder to solve because it's quite interesting to see this. I might solve it one day. I don't know if I can. The other 2 I could solve them. I haven't tried this one, I think, but it's basically a little bit harder than these before. And the last cube of this video is actually this. So I don't know how to call it. I will probably put all the cube names in the description of this video. And it's basically a 2x2 cube. So if you can solve it, it's good. But the thing is that you actually have to put these pieces on each corner so it's finished. Like first like this. That's wrong because this one is white, but you know what I mean. So it's basically just a harder 2x2 cube with more to think about. It's basically like this one. You have it like this, you can rotate it and do the next one like this. So it's basically a little bit the same. And then like the 2x2 cube at the end, if you finish all the corners, you just solve it like this cube. Pretty simple. So yeah guys, this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it and you can write in the comments if you want to see the next part. If not, it's okay, you don't have to. See you next time.